Imagine a year where I don't think it's safe on set anymore, Zach.
What year is that, Sandro?
The year is 1939. Hello and welcome to welcome oldie but a goodie. Oh, my name is Sandro. This is a big episode. We're doing the Wizard of Oz. Oh my goodness. I thought I'd check out the 1939 World Fair. It's just so crowded though. I'm walking around. So here's the thing. I'm stuck in time. Zach is going to time travel back into the bodies of like one of these people. And I thought it could be pretty funny if I come here, the 1939 New York World's Fair, and I try and find someone famous for Zach to like go into the body of to do the episode, and I'm like, oh, there's Einstein, that's kind of cool. But I'm too scared to approach any of these people. I'm too scared to approach them. Is that person looks familiar? Who's the? Oh my goodness, I just bumped into a man.
Oh, hello there, sir. You better watch where you're going. You keep looking at all these famous people and bumping into other people.
Yeah, there's so many famous people. Like over there's Churchill. What's he doing here? It's 1939. He should be doing something else.
Well, that's later in the year, technically. But anyway.
True. Technically true.
No, there's lots of famous people. Oh, look, there goes Walt Disney. What a character.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, what's your name, sir?
My name is Sandro. What's your name, sir?
Oh, nice to meet you, Sandro. I'm Billy Button.
Oh, that's a funny name. Billy Button. I like it. That's very...
No, Butlin, I should say.
Well, never mind. That's not as funny.
I was just here, having a look at this wonderful fair that we have here. Isn't it fantastic?
It does indeed remind me of the movie Tomorrowland, which was a film that the Disney company released and no one saw.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that one. Sounds interesting, though.
It's not.
No,
Don't watch it.
I'm here looking for inspirations for some of my fairground ideas,
Inspirations?
Make some good rides.
Oh, some rides? Why? What is it that you do, Butlin?
Oh, well, I run a few different fairground sort of things that sort of move around in other places. But I also recently invented a new thing.
You invented a new thing?
A couple of years ago, yes. It's called holiday camps. Have you heard of them?
Oh, no.
Well, they're holiday camps. They're just where, like, you have a bunch of houses, except they're not really houses. They're slightly smaller. We call them cabins.
Right.
You have a bunch of cabins, and you can, you sort of stay at these cabin sites. And it's a bit like halfway between camping and, just generally living. But you'll have some on-site activities, and you can go into the forests and other things. So it's just a step up from camping, as it were. A bit more luxurious, with a few rides and other things.
I know that the early, 18th century, or 19th, I don't fucking know which century we're in. I know, the early whatever century we're in had a lot of inventions, but it kind of sounds like you've just taken the concept of a house and made it smaller, and then said that that's an invention.
No, because I've combined my fairground expertise to add rides and other activities you can do at these places.
Oh, into the houses?
Yes, so it's sort of combining, well, not in the house, that would be dangerous.
That would be pretty funny, actually. I think that would be very fun, yes.
I mean, there are indoor activities, but not in the cabins themselves. I've combined my fairground expertise with that of camping and other things to create this activity that many young people will enjoy for many years to come, I'm sure.
Yes, this is definitely something that's going to stay around far into the future. Anyway, let's go have a look at some of these inventions. Oh my goodness, what's this one?
Look at this.
Ooh, what is this?
It looks like some sort of time travel device.
Oh my god, not a time travel device. Oh look, they're turning it on. It's making big sci-fi noises that I've had to download off YouTube.
Oh, and someone dropped a plate. Oh dear.
Oh my god, there's a plate crash. Oh, and the orphans running around.
Hello, Governor. Got any dimes?
Oh dear, the orphans hopped into the time machine.
Oh, Orphan, don't get into the time machine. Orphan, ever since that orphan killed someone, he's really been trying to get it. Oh my god, the orphan's been replaced by... Is that Is that Valaris from Twitch?
Hello? How did I get here?
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're back in 1939. Time's gone crazy. Kind of crazy that you would end up here when I'm here as well to do a podcast. That's kind of funny. What's the chances of that?
What are the chances? That's so strange.
Yeah, that's very strange. It appears the time machine is on fire.
Oh, wait, is the orphan stuck in time?
It's possible. I'm sure he'll show up at some point.
Oh no, is the orphan gonna come back as a cyborg killer like Cable or something? Is that what's gonna happen?
That would be very cool. Yes, I agree.
That would be
Anyway,
very funny.
I'm starting to feel a bit strange.
Oh my god, it's Strange Faces off.
Whoa. Strange Faces? Is that the new season of Stranger Things?
Stranger Faces? Probably.
Oh, how's it going? Oh, hey Val, what are you doing here?
Traveling through time, and here I am.
Oh, wow, that's convenient. Hey, this is a strange question, but have you recently watched The Wizard of Oz?
Well, you won't believe it, but yes, I have.
Oh my
Why
goodness.
isn't that convenient?
Wow, that's so convenient because we're going to be reviewing The Wizard of Oz.
Excellent. Well, that is pretty good timing then, I must say.
Yeah, that's
Here,
excellent timing.
let's find a quiet, room where we can record out of this big fairground.
Yes, here's a window. I'm going to break it with my arm. It sounded like a plate. Let's get into this.
It did sound like that plate earlier that smashed. It's so weird.
Yep. Why is there a monkey over there? Anyway, this is gonna make editing so annoying. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, you named the monkey there. I didn't do that. You're gonna have to put that sound effect in.
I'm gonna rush this episode out because I'm going to Sydney soon. But anyway. Wow, now that we're in this nice, quiet house, it's time to review The Wizard of Oz. Woo! Now, Zach, usually we do non-spoilers and then spoilers, but honestly, if you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, what? How? And go watch it.
What are you doing? Stop now. Stop right now. Whatever you're doing, I don't care how dangerous it is. Just stop that. Go watch The Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. Go watch it.
It's a must.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a movie that, like, I feel like it's one of those rare ones where everyone's always like, this is one of the movies that you've got to watch. But it's not wanky. It's not a wanky film movie like Citizen Kane. It's one that you actually probably should watch.
Yeah. It's a great film. It's a great film.
And we're going to be talking all about it in great detail with spoilers.
So I guess we'll do spoilers after this. If you have never seen The Wizard of Oz, I recommend go watching it. Otherwise, we're just going to do spoilers, I guess.
And it's worth catching up now because coming up next year is Ariana Grande in Wicked or whatever they're making. So it's a good time to catch up on Wizard of Oz, I guess.
That's fair. And I suppose we're going to dive into the juicier details of this movie after we review it.
Yeah, I think we should review the movie and then talk about whether or not we should actually like this film.
Yeah. Here's the problem, right? I don't want to ruin my my views of the movie just yet, you know?
Exactly. But let's kick it off. Spoilers with The Wizard of Oz. Val, you are a big fan of this movie. When was the first time you saw it? How many times have you seen it, do you think? And how much do you like the movie?
Oh boy, that is a loaded question. It's one of those movies that was like my entire childhood for the most part. So that's kind of like why I grew up loving it so much. I've also seen like the play for it, not Wicked, but the Wizard of Oz. I've seen on stage performed as well. Cried when I didn't get to meet the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, it was just kind of one of those movies that you watch so often as a kid that, you know, you just love it growing up. And until the other day, I hadn't watched it in years. It's been so long since I had last seen it that I had forgotten so many like minor details about it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is one of those movies that it felt like it was always on TV.
That's it.
It is like the best TV film of all time. you know?
It's a good one. And I think also, yeah, because I saw this on TV a bunch. I think also, like, that's why I always thought that this movie was like 3 hours long, but it's not. I think
Yeah.
it was just like 2.5 hours with ads when you watched it on TV. So that's why
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, with ad breaks, yeah.
I thought so too.
there's also like a lot packed in here.
Yeah, it's surprisingly concise. I also had not like thinking it was 3 hours, but I thought it was longer.
Yeah.
The whole like getting the gang together and getting there, it all felt very brisk. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Zach, when was the first time you saw this one? Were you but a child? Probably.
Yes, I was a buttered child. I had recently
Oh my.
delicious, but I have viewed this in theater as well.
Ooh.
Oh.
A school play production.
Oh god, I'm sorry.
No, it was pretty fun at the time. I don't remember it very much, but I remember I was engaged. I think it was a little bit like silly. They did like a silly production of it. I think at the start, there was one joke I remember from it, which is at the start of the movie, Dorothy had like a cup of water or something, or like everyone had a cup of water, and then the Wicked Witch showed up, and they kept threatening to pour the water on the Wicked Witch at the start of the thing, and the Wicked Witch was like, no, you have to wait,
That sounds silly. That's pretty funny, actually. I like
It was pretty silly. Yeah. It was very tongue-in-cheek. Anyway, but I have seen this movie once before. Otherwise, I've watched, like... Was there a different film? They made a remake of this or something?
There's a bunch of different ones. There's like a sequel that's like a horror sequel. There's the one with James Franco that looks like an origin story.
Yeah, I think I've seen some other weird things that I don't remember.
Oh, maybe it's the Muppets version. Maybe you saw the Muppets version.
Oh my god, yeah, I've definitely seen the Muppet version.
That's the worst Muppet movie, but it is. They did make one.
Oh my god, I remember this film.
Yeah.
I do not.
Oh wow, yeah, this film was wild.
It's it's the Muppets, but it's the Wizard of Oz. Is Kermit the Wizard? I don't even remember. I don't know.
No, Kermit's the, like, scarecrow, I think.
Ah.
But yeah, this film's pretty good. I like this film. It's a fun film. My views have been slightly skewed. View to, prior knowledge of the production. But I also picked up things from this movie that I didn't remember, which was really cool. Like the fact that Toto's gonna die at the end. because here's the thing, right? The Wicked Witch, that lady, she's just gonna come back for the dog, right? The reason Dorothy ran away was to protect Toto, but she's back, right? So the old lady's just gonna come back and grab the dog and put her down. That was something I didn't remember as a child.
Oh, you meant yeah. Like, what's her name on the bike is gonna come back.
Yeah. I interpreted that as that she died.
You can interpret that as
I
you
will. Because I will protect Toto.
Yeah, I interpreted it as, oh wait, Toto's still gonna die. Oh shit.
I mean, oof. Maybe. You never know. This film is surprisingly dark. That's one thing I picked up on it was like the overall, I guess, the lesson of the movie. It's not good, actually. Kind of bad. Kind of don't like the lesson that this movie has to tell little kids.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't happen. Toto's probably fine. But, like, that's something you could interpret out of the film that I did not pick up as a child. So, I was like, oh my god, poor Toto.
Because she's never brought up again in the final scene.
Yeah, she isn't brought up at the end there where they have the big conclusion of, all the people that she met along the way, wow, they were actually the people at the start of the film. That's crazy.
Well, okay, here's the thing, right? And I want to talk about the lore of Oz in a second, but the start of the movie, it's all in sepia. She's meeting all the people on her farm, and those people are then in Oz playing, different characters. Aside from Uncle Henry, does Dorothy just not like her uncle and just did not include him in the dream?
That's a good point.
Because Uncle Henry's nowhere to be seen.
Oh my god.
Maybe that the whole thing with that is that he's absent from her life.
Oh.
You see, in my Wizard of Oz, it's a dark, gritty take where a girl gets knocked out, dreams for a bit, and then her dog gets put down.
Oh, that's awful.
That's my version of Wizard of Oz.
No! Protect Toto.
Yeah. Oh, or alternatively, the instead of the dog being put down, the lady across the street dies in a tornado.
Well, I mean, she is the only one to, like, be at the start of the movie, to die in the dream, and then to not show up again.
Yeah, that's
So-
it.
Maybe she did die.
So yeah, she gets crushed by a house.
Yeah.
That's my gritty realistic.
That just, I mean, Glinda did threaten her with that in their first meeting when she says, be gone before someone drops a house on you too.
Yeah. There's a lot at the start which is like foretold, like the farmhand. It's like, oh, you need to have more courage, girl. You know,
Yeah,
that sort of thing, which I didn't pick up on as a kid.
me neither.
As a kid, obviously, I got the whole like, oh, hey, look, all the people on the farm look just like the people in her dreams. Wow.
Which is cool, but here's the thing, though, and this is what I want to bring up. The Wizard of Oz is just one story in a long... Like, if we're talking about the books, there's a whole bunch of them. The World of Oz continues, it's kind of like Narnia, but is it only her dream? Is it only her dream? Or is it an actual world and then she's put in the world? But then why does everything mirror what's happening in her world? What's going on? What are the rules?
Well, in my gritty realistic
Oh no.
version, it's a hallucination because she gets, smacked in the back of the head with a pane of glass,
No, definitely. Like, that is what this movie is trying to say. But also, why then is there Wicked? Why is there Oz the Great and Powerful? Why is there a sequel to this in the 80s that's just horrifying?
It's true.
I don't know. I don't understand.
The other interpretation is, it's just sort of like a mirror world of our world.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, while watching it, I was like, is every character in Oz, everyone who exists in the world also exists in Oz?
Yeah.
And Dorothy has just happened to cross the bridge. We're thinking way too...
Yeah, Val, what are your thoughts on the situation here? What's your interpretation of this dark, gritty film?
I interpreted it pretty much as it showed it, that, like, it was a dream, that she got hit in the head by the window and dreamed it all, like, until she woke up again. But I've also never really thought about, like, into more detail that there are the other books in that, and that the world is much bigger than what we see in this one film. So
It's very much an Alice in Wonderland situation. Like,
Yeah.
did Alice fall down a rabbit hole and then just hallucinate for like 5 hours?
No, the author
Like-
got high and then just wrote stuff. That's what happened there. Well, slap me with a feather and call me Miss Nelly. It's me, Sally McSeller, and I've got a new ad for you today. Why? Patreon.com/oldie-but-a-goodie-pod is the only place where you can get bonus and ad-free episodes from the two podcast hosts you're listening to right now. But here's the thing. I'm very scared of Deadites, and I don't want to go see Evil Dead Rise yet, but I want to listen to their bonus episode. I need a clip to convince me. Here we go.
I would have liked a bit more silliness, and here's how I'd do it. I'd have, like, someone gets murdered by, like, a rubber duck or something, and it's like, holy shit, that guy got fucking murdered by a rubber duck, something like that,
That's very Evil Dead. That's the most Evil Dead thing I think anyone's ever said. Someone
Yeah,
getting murdered by
exactly.
a rubber duck.
I thought that was gonna happen,
Oh, well, guess I'm going out to the cinemas and guess I'm going to be scared shitless, or should I say bloodless, because I'm going to go see Evil Dead Rise and then go to patreon.com/oldie-but-a-goodie-pod, spend $5 and get access to all their bonus episodes, including that one. Wow, that's so wild. Anyway, where's that feather? Someone needs to call me Miss Nelly. That moment, though, because, like, the whole movie is in sepia for, like, 15 minutes. And it's
Yeah.
kind of boring at the start. You're kind of like, I'm just here to get to the thing. But that moment when she does go through the door and suddenly everything's in color. Oh, it's
Wow.
good. It's still good.
Wow.
It's still good.
It is beautiful.
I was thinking right at the start of the film, I was like, wow, it's interesting how some movies look older than others.
Yeah.
You know, with that sort of colorless look that it had. It looks way older than when you put it in color. And then it went into color, and I was like, whoa, this is striking. I was like, I forgot color is a thing. And then it's just there, and I was like, holy crap, that's incredible. Everything's so vibrant.
Yeah, it's so like everything aside from maybe Emerald City, which looks a bit like the Fortress of Solitude. I wouldn't want to live there personally, but
It's awesome.
everything in
I would live there.
everything in Oz just looks amazing. Like the costume, we'll talk about what the actors actually had to go through for this to be pulled off, but it does look incredible. Like you can tell why this is considered to be one of the best films of all time because it looks amazing.
Imagine seeing this film when it came out and having the switch between color and non-color sort of thing happen, where you're expecting it to just be a black and white film, and then suddenly, bam, color on screen. That would have been incredible.
I mean, I probably would have been in my head thinking about how the war is just about to start, but also I would have been like, wow, this looks amazing.
You're a child. You don't even understand the concept of war. Shut up. Shut up. But some people, this would have been their first colored film as well.
Probably. I mean, Robin Hood was the big one, but also I think this one did better.
Around that time, color was just being introduced. So it's quite possible that a lot of people went to this as their first colored film. Mm-hmm. And that would have blown my mind as a child. I would have been like, holy shit, the power of technology. I felt it through the eons. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is really cool. Because even today, it was a cool transition, you know?
Yeah. The release of this movie is very interesting. It's obviously, incredibly expensive. It was the most expensive movie at the time, I think, or at least it was for MGM. But it didn't really make a profit. It was, popular, but then, after, September, people were kind of preoccupied with other stuff that was going on. So it was popular, but it wasn't as popular as it could have been. I think it was re-released in the late 40s after that thing that everyone else was kind of dealing with was no longer really an issue. And then it went crazy once they put it on TV as well. That's a big part of it was when it was put on TV in the 50s. So apparently it's the most watched movie in movie history.
Wow.
They've done some numbers on it and pretty much everyone has seen this film, which is amazing.
So I guess, non-spoilers make sense. Yeah, makes sense to skip that.
But it's also a bloody musical. The movie's got music in it. Val, what's your favorite song?
Oh my, that's also a loaded question. I mean, I guess it would probably have to be Somewhere Over the Rainbow because it's just the movie kicks off with that, and it's just a really nice scene in general that she's just kind of hanging out with Toto and singing, and it's just I don't know, it's just really nice. The other ones when you've also got the Tin Man Scarecrow and Cowardly Lion there as well are really nice, but just that I think it starts off with that is just so lovely. But that would be mine. What about yours?
My favorite song was the Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild. We represent the Lollipop
fun.
Guild. Yeah.
So fun.
No, I just remember that one for some reason. That one stuck in my head throughout time. I actually like the Yellow Brick Road because I like how they start skipping away. Whenever they do the follow the Yellow Brick Road, they start doing that little skip.
Yeah.
I like it.
It feels like it's start of the adventure from that moment.
Yes. And then they meet up with a person, they do their whole song, and then they do Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Yes.
Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Or we're off to see the wizard, one of the two.
Yeah, and then we're off to see the wizard, yeah.
Which I quite like. I think I actually like the character introduction songs. They might be my favorite. Like If I Only Had a Brain or Heart or Nerve. Like those are just like, ooh, they're very fun. But also, every song in this movie is kind of good. Some of the Munchkin stuff isn't. I like the Lollipop Guild, but there's some of them where I'm like, what is any of this? But yeah, I think that's also potentially real life things getting in the way of my enjoyment of some of that sequence. But anyway, there was a song, I think they were meant to sing the Jitterbug at some point in this movie, but it was cut.
Really?
Wow.
Which is very funny.
Yeah, that's a very different tune to this whole film.
Yeah, I don't even know where you would... Yeah, I guess I can see why they cut it. I don't know where that would fit in the movie.
They put it right at the end of the film where they're taking the dog away to die.
No!
Dude, the jitterbug.
Apparently it was when they were going to the witch's castle. So
okay.
they've talked to the wizard, they're off to the witch's castle, and they cut it because the movie was too long, so they just cut it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is quite interesting. So, okay, growing up, I did not realize what the plot of this actually is. I think, like, when you're a kid and you're watching a movie, you don't really pay too much attention to the overarching plot, like character motivations and stuff. You've got a simple mind, you're watching movies very simply. But this time around, it's my first time watching it in quite a few years. This is just, the Wicked Witch is correct.
What?
They murdered her sister. She just wants justice for her sister. Like, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's honestly kind of fair enough.
She just wants her shoes.
You're pro Wicked Witch?
I'm kind of pro Wicked Witch because she's like, hey, you murdered my sister and you're just singing about it. What the fuck?
You murdered her and then took her shoes. Can I have those shoes back? They were my sister's?
It's, like, honestly kind of fair enough. So, because, like, I thought that the Wicked Witch was, like, trying to take over Oz or something, kind of like a Narnia situation where she's like, I want all of Narnia to be the ice world. That's what I thought it was in my memory. But no, it's just they murdered her sister and she wants the shoes back.
There's an implied sort of takeovering situation that's happening with this Wicked Witch and that she rules from this castle.
Is there, or is that just Glinda trying to get her way? Because you know what? I think Glinda is not very based.
Whoa.
I don't like Glinda. Not a fan of Glinda. Don't like the Good Witch.
I also don't, but that's I also don't like the evil witch either. I think all witches are bad. That's my opinion.
Oh my god. AWAB.
You're pro evil witch and anti good witch. I'm anti all witches.
You're anti all witch. What's your stance on this, Val? Or do you not want to take a stance, which is fair enough for your Twitch career?
Well, I mean, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was meet the Wicked Witch of the West. So like when I went to go see the play, I waited outside of the theater to meet her, and she couldn't do signings that day, and I stood there and cried.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of like all of them. Like it's really I think it's interesting to see like why Glinda might be good and why the Wicked Witch of the West might be bad. But also, I believe there is, like, further into the movie when the witch is looking into the crystal ball, I believe she mentions something about getting the slippers back for power.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think there's a brief line.
Once she grabs the slippers, she'll be like unstoppable or whatever. She'll have so much power.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's kind of like as far as it goes in terms of her wanting to take over.
That power might be used for good. She might improve infrastructure with that, you know. A lot of these houses can be picked up by tornadoes, you know. They need better foundations, that sort of thing. Maybe that's what she's doing.
That is a good point. I also want as well to bring up that, yes, but maybe it's fair enough that the Wicked Witch wants that because this whole time, Glinda's been racist towards her because of her green face.
Whoa.
Glinda's just racist.
Whoa.
Glinda's just really Isn't that the whole plot of Wicked? I don't know, I haven't seen it. Anyway,
But my opinion, of course, is that no one should have power, especially not witches. Down with the establishment.
down with the establishment.
Burn the witches.
speaking of the power in Oz, the Wizard of Oz, the scenes where he's like playing different characters around the Emerald City, that is so much
That's
fun.
very funny.
That performance is great, like the fake mustache, and you can tell because I was like watching it and I was like, why does the gatekeeper's mustache look like it's falling off? Is that a production error? And then I remembered that he's the Wizard of Oz, and I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
no, that's just a bit of detail for the audience to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. The charlatan from earlier, yes, he's going around pretending to be all these different people, and then, of course, the actual Wizard of Oz with his big, exploding, fiery face.
Yes.
Which was pretty awesome. I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that fire and explosions. The pyrotechnics in that place was awesome.
Oh, that gave me nightmares.
Oh, really?
Growing up. Yeah, it terrified me as a kid. I was so scared watching that part.
Yeah, I mean, all the characters were also terrified. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz laying down the law here. Damn.
I think the part that, speaking of being scared, I remember the first time I watched this, my parents were like, now this next scene with the blue monkeys is pretty scary, so maybe if you want to cover your eyes, you can. Yeah, those blue monkeys are horrifying, and also potentially problematic in design. I don't know how I feel about it, but also, yeah, they're so, oh my goodness, they're horrifying little monkeys.
I do remember the scene where she's like sort of pointing, and you see in the background all the Wicked Witches pointing.
Yeah.
And all the monkeys are sort of flying. Like there's just this swarm, an army of monkeys. I remember that scene. That one's burned into my brain. I'm like, whoa, she's got an army of flying monkeys.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying, pretty scary. Makes me, I don't know, I wasn't that scared. I felt nothing this entire film. I'm dead. I'm dead. I wrote down a note being like, well, why do all the munchkins look like the Garbage Pail Kids? I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah. I also thought of the Garbage Pail Kids when I saw them, because especially the Lollipop Guild, they're dressed up to look like middle-aged men, which was, I found very funny.
Yes.
You know, they're the typical British blokes sort of thing. We're from the Lollipop Guild. Don't mess with the Lollipop Guild, we'll fuck you up. You know.
Why are all the tree ants vaguely Italian? That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they were Italian trees, Sandro.
Italian trees?
Yeah, they were imported. Why you gotta be treeist, Sandro? You know?
I don't know. But some of the other characters in this movie, we're first introduced to Scarecrow. The Scarecrow's great. I love the Scarecrow. Val, with any of these three like supporting characters, the Scarecrow, the Lion, the Tin Man, did you find any of them scary when you were a kid?
Scary? I would probably say the Cowardly Lion, because of like that whole scene of like how it starts when like they're skipping through the forest and singing, and then all of a sudden he just kind of appears out of nowhere. So like that kind of scared me a little bit. Not too bad though. It was just kind of more like when they're singing about lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
That's kind of what you're expecting to see. Otherwise, the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, no, I wouldn't say they scared me. I just felt like bad for them because they just wanted, you know, a brain and... But no, probably only the Cowardly Lion at first, but then he grew on me.
I only really felt bad for the Cowardly Lion.
Really?
Yeah, because he gets hit, and he's like, oh man, why the fuck did you have to hit me?
Oh, yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that lion got assaulted. We should sue. Someone should be a lawyer for this lion.
I mean, someone should sue for the lion in general, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
We'll get to that later.
but for different reasons. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I was watching this with my partner, and she had a pretty good point with the Tin Man, where like he's crying and like he's rusting. Tin doesn't rust. He would have to be an Iron Man.
Yeah, he's called the Tin Man, but he could be made of something different.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is his name just a lie?
The costume he's wearing, it looks more like iron, so he's probably an Iron Man, but just called the Tin Man.
Exactly.
I don't know if that was intended. Like the actual like rusty looking tears. I don't know if that was fully intended or due to what they used for his makeup.
They did mention it at some point, but I think the effect maybe was, yeah, definitely. I loved his dance, though. That part where he just does that dance. Oh, he's great.
I liked when he did the like Michael Jackson lean. And they're like, whoa.
And they're trying to catch him.
Yeah. And they have to go back and forth. That was quite funny.
It's like, it is a very, like, if you're a kid, this movie is just so much fun. There's so much in here. It's thrilling. It's funny. It's just, yeah, it's excellent.
Definitely my favorite is the Cowardly Lion, though. He was always my favorite as a kid.
He's good. The actor does a great job. Well, again, we'll get to what he had to go through, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they get a quest from the wizard to go murder the witch, or just get the witch's broom, I think it is.
Yeah, something like, he's like, it's an impossible quest and they will all die.
Yeah. It's a very, like, obvious, like, that the wizard's trying to give them an impossible quest so that they don't come back.
Yeah. And so, Dorothy, who didn't necessarily do a murder, but she's definitely liable for manslaughter by killing the first witch.
Agreed.
She's now going to go do premeditated murder with a whole bunch of accomplices, and they murder the Wicked Witch.
Absolutely.
And we get the line, I didn't mean to kill her, I really didn't, which is not a good argument in court. That wouldn't hold up in court, Dorothy. You're going to jail for murder.
I'm anti-witch, but I'm also pro-justice. I think we should lock up this serial manslaughterer.
That is what the sequel in the 80s kind of is. She goes to, like, a mental institution.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's the sequel to Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz.
Wow. Maybe my dark, gritty reality was a bit too on the nose.
I knew there were other movies. I didn't realize that they were actually like sequels and that until you mentioned it today. So now I feel like I need to go see what all of this is about.
Oh, it is. It's horrifying. So yeah, there's a film in the mid-80s called Return to Oz. If you like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and stuff like that, you'll like it.
Right.
At the time, it completely bombed because it was too scary for kids.
Yep.
Like, it's actually horrifying. It's like,
Dorothy
returns to Oz. There's like a pumpkin man guy that goes with her. It's just like, it's horrifying.
It sounds fantastic.
And then the ending of the movie, it's like, I'm the Wizard of Oz. Ha ha. It was me the whole time. I'm but a charlatan. I was here on a balloon.
Yeah, I love this scene because he does actually like try and solve all their problems. I love it. I didn't remember that as a kid, so I was quite pleased. I remember the whole like reveal that he's not the wizard, and then Dorothy has to like teleport home anyway. But I forgot that he actually does solve the problems. He gives the Scarecrow a diploma.
Yeah.
So the Scarecrow's like, oh, now I'm smart. Although, to be fair, earlier in the film, just at the end of the film, the Scarecrow, like, uses the Tin Man's axe to, like, knock down the chandelier, which was a very smart maneuver. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's a mixture of, like, it's kind of like he proves to them that they are, it's like, you had the power within you this whole time, or whatever.
And he gives, like, the Tin Man a heart-shaped clock that ticks so he can hear his heart, and I was like, that's good. And then, of course, he awards the medal to the lion, which gives him courage.
Yeah, no, he blackmails them to keep quiet about who he really is. Yeah, that's...
Absolutely. But he does actually offer a solution for Dorothy that's more than just, diplomas and clocks and courage. He actually, like, has a balloon and can take her back to Kansas.
Yes. Now, I haven't seen Oz the Great and Powerful since it came out, but have either of you seen that? The Wizard of Oz origin story thing?
No, I don't think so.
Nope, definitely not.
Because in that, it is like James Franco's like, I've got a balloon. Oh, no, I'm in Oz. What's going on? I'm taking over this place. I'm lying a bunch. I don't know. He's like an interesting character, and it's interesting that they decided to make a prequel based on him.
Oh, I loved him. He was probably my favorite character of the movie. Obviously, the lion was my favorite companion, but he was probably my favorite character, because even at the start of the film, where he's like this the charlatan like fortune teller.
Yeah.
Where he does the whole thing where he's like, close your eyes, and then he searches her bag for a picture, and he's like, I see a picket fence in front of a house, and what's this? A lady wearing a polka dot dress, and she's heartbroken and all that. I was like, this is great. This is great. I love this guy.
It's great, but also the sentiment behind "There's no place like home" I don't like. I don't.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. It's kind of bad actually. Where he's like, if you can't find it in your backyard, you never lost it to begin with, or something. And I'm like, this feels bad actually. I don't like this lesson.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think the point of the film is like for little kids not to run away from home because they might die in a tornado.
Yeah, it's fear-mongering.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pro fear-mongering.
I think it's, like it's that, but it's also, you've got to obey the people of the land or whatever and all that stuff, which I'm like, don't like that.
Yeah, I also didn't like that because I'm also an anarchist. So I'm very torn here. I'm down with the power and the establishment, but I'm also pro-propaganda. So I'm a little torn here.
And I also don't, like, it's kind of funny that then how Glinda shows up again and is like, haha, now that you've murdered that other witch and I've got full power here in Oz, you have the power to go home all along. Haha.
Isn't there some sort of sequel where she's now, like, evil and taken over or something?
I mean, probably all witches are bad.
Yeah, all witches are bad.
And then, she goes back home and everything. And that's pretty much the whole movie. Did you have anything else that... Oh, my goodness. And then my final note is, and she's sent off to a mental institution to get lobotomized. That's a dark note that I wrote down.
Oof.
But also probably what would have happened because it's the 20s and she's got a wild imagination. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention, Val, before we rate the movie and maybe talk about the behind the scenes?
Just in regards to Professor Marvel there before, did you guys notice at the start how like it has what he does on the side of the wagon and that in like really small writing it actually has and also a balloon exhibitionist on the side?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
It's written really small, but it's kind of a fun little like hidden nod towards, the end of the movie that I hadn't noticed before the other day.
Wow, that's great.
That's really fun. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon?
No, I never have.
I don't know if I have. Look, I have a minor fear of heights, so I probably would just opt out of sort of doing that. It's more a practical fear of heights that you can die from falling out of a balloon. That's a possibility. There's zero possibility if you never get in a balloon.
True.
Just saying.
I mean, I've just got vertigo, so I just throw up on
Nice.
all those poor sheep that were flying over. So to protect those sheep, I don't get in balloons. But also I think because we live particularly in Melbourne, you usually have to book a hot air balloon like a week in advance or something. And the weather always is not what you predicted a week later. So every time, like
true.
my dad tried to book one once, and then it was like, we have to cancel because it's not good weather.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
In terms of rating this, though, is it an oldie or is it a goodie? What do you think, Zach?
Without any knowledge about what's about to occur on the podcast, I'm going to rate this a goodie. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's a fun, light-hearted film, and I love it. I love it. It's a great story. There's great singing, great songs, great time. There's courage, and there's heart, and there's brains. All in this film.
Honestly, I'm the same. If you don't know about the production of it or anything along those lines, then a goodie. Because it is just fun. Like the singing is great, and it just seems like for the most part it just feels like a really happy movie, especially if you're watching it for the first time as a kid. But yeah, it gets a bit rough when you know what it took to make it.
Yeah.
So it kind of tears you.
Yeah, I know a lot of friends give this like 5 out of 5 stars and stuff. I'm not like, yes, it's a goodie, 100%. This is a goodie. I think like plot wise, there's a few things that I laugh at where I'm like, but the Wicked Witch has got a point actually, and that sort of stuff. But also, yeah, the behind the scenes, which we'll get to, does detract a little bit from the experience, especially when you watch it with the knowledge and then can pick up on how certain actors are acting as well, which we'll get to. But yeah, like it is a super fun movie, and it is one that I think everyone should watch because it's very fun. And if you have it as a kid, you're missing out, you know.
It's a classic.
But 3 goodies for The Wizard of Oz. It's off to see the production, I guess. I don't know. So,
Oh no, the wonderful production of Oz.
wonderful production of Oz. So just like most things in this post-apocalyptic media nightmare world that we live in, this is all Walt Disney's fault. Everything's Walt Disney's fault. He made Snow White, and studios were like, "What if we made that in live action?" So it's all his fault, actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, after Snow White did really well, MGM was like, "Oh, fantasy." So they rushed out a script of the very popular Wizard of Oz. Initially, this film was a lot darker. The Tin Man was like meant to be a criminal or something, who like did such big crimes that he was going to be put inside a tin suit forever. That was a thing
Oh.
What?
that they made up.
So wait, was that in the original book, or did they just make that up for this film?
I think they just made that up. Well, there is also a silent movie from the 20s that's like based off The Wizard of Oz, and it's similar-ish to that.
There's so many extra movies I had no idea even existed until today. I knew of like Wicked, and that was it.
Yeah, well, Wicked's the big one.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch, and the Muppets one is the best one. No, not true. We'll get to the cast. Now, initially, Val, Judy Garland wasn't meant to be Dorothy, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe she wasn't. I think I read somewhere that it was meant to be Shirley Temple, I believe, to play Dorothy. I don't know how or why it ended up being Judy Garland instead, but yeah, I read somewhere it wasn't originally going to be her.
That's very interesting, yeah, because like Shirley Temple is a child at this point. She's definitely under the age of 13, I think, in 13. I don't remember. But like Judy Garland, I think she was like 16 when they made this, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the Judy Garland stuff with this movie is probably the roughest. They had her on many sorts of drugs for the entire film to basically make her lose weight. They also bound her chest the entire time, which is why when she's singing on set, in the very few moments she does, it does not sound good. Her life was essentially ruined because of this movie, which is awful.
Yes.
Terrible. They treated her so badly. It's awful.
So unfortunately, that takes away from it a bit as well. But then you've also got the Tin Man. Now, I'm not too familiar with what they did with the Tin Man.
Oh boy.
Val, I think you more are.
Yeah, it was more so what they used for the makeup and that. So originally, the actor that played him wasn't cast to play him. It was meant to be Ebsen, I believe his name is. It was meant to be him. And they tried covering him with tin and silvery paper and silver cloth covered cardboard. But because that didn't look as realistic or whatever they were going for, they decided to go with white face paint that was coated in aluminium dust. But about 9 days into filming, he started to experience like shortness of breath and whatnot, and they sent him to hospital where one of his lungs had failed. And that was when they ended up hiring the actor Jack Haley to replace him.
Wow.
And then I believe, from there, Haley ended up playing as him for the rest of the movie. But I don't think Ebsen was ever actually shown in the movie because it happened prior to filming commencing, I believe. But yeah, they ended up changing the makeup to being like a paste that was still with like, the aluminium and whatnot, flakes in it or whatever. But it was a paste so that he wasn't breathing it in. But it did still cause him like eye infections and that.
Ooh.
So yeah, he had to be covered in that, which I think is kind of what happened when he started crying and why it gave that rust look, was because like the tears kind of oxidizing, is that the right word for it, with the with what they used. So yeah, that was kind of what happened there.
That's not very good at all. Yeah, because it's like a mixture of like, at this point, MGM was basically Disney, so they were like too big to really like be taken, you know, they refused to be like held accountable for anything that they did as a company.
Yeah.
And the producers were like, just do this, I don't care, we will fire you if you don't, which is pretty
Yeah.
much what happened with Victor Fleming, the director. He wasn't meant to direct it, got brought in because he was like quite popular with Treasure Island and Captain's Courageous and stuff. He actually didn't even finish this movie. Gone with the Wind was also having production troubles. So he moved from The Wizard of Oz to Gone with the Wind like near the end of The Wizard of Oz's like production, which is wild. But yeah, he I'm pretty sure in some interviews has said that he's not proud of how this was made, which, I mean, I'm glad. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be.
No, me neither. There was actually a few kind of things where like people didn't end up staying in their role. So originally Ray Bolger, I hope that's how you say his name properly, was meant to play the Tin Man, but he ended up trading roles with Buddy Ebsen, who was that initial Tin Man originally, and he was cast as Scarecrow. So Bolger ended up swapping and ended up playing the Scarecrow instead.
Huh.
And then, yeah, everything else that kind of happened after that with the Tin Man's makeup and whatnot.
But he's not the only follower that suffered at the hands of the makeup.
No.
There's scenes here, there's songs. There's one in the Emerald City where the guy playing the light, he's passing out. You can tell that he's about to pass out. Like, just from his voice, you're like, he's so close to just dropping. Yeah, so his suit was really heavy, right, Val?
Yeah, I have noted down here, I think it was meant to be around 90 pounds
Whoa.
in weight.
Gee, he's carrying a second person around at that stage.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was apparently made from, like, real lion skin.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to make things even worse.
Oh my
So-
god.
Yeah, that's why it was so heavy and very hot. And then apparently the lights, because of obviously the lighting that they would use on set and that, it would apparently raise the temperature to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
So it would just, everyone would just be so hot, and especially if you're carrying around 90 pounds of a costume on top of that. It was, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Which is a shame because, like, he's a great actor.
Oh, absolutely.
Thankfully, it seems like most of these, like the Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, and Tin Man, they didn't have too many long-lasting problems after the production of this movie, so that's kind of good. It seems like they recovered pretty well. It's mainly just Judy Garland who was never really able to bounce back, which is a shame. But yeah, I'm reading like here there was apparently a moment. I think it's when the Cowardly Lion's introduction scene, she just was like laughing the whole. I mean, of course she was. She was like high the entire production.
Yeah.
She was just like laughing, and then they got the entire cast and crew to just like get annoyed at her or something, and then the director was like, actually, I hated that I did that. Every single person in the crew gets to punch me in the face because of how
What?
ashamed I am of this.
What?
Wow.
Just awful. Just absolutely awful. She was also harassed by the Munchkins. The Munchkins, unfortunately, were all acting up a lot on set and being incredibly inappropriate to all of the cast members, but particularly Judy Garland, which is why that sequence is rough to watch now for me.
Well, that's not good. Yeah.
It's just a nightmare behind the scene. Oh, yeah, the Wicked Witch got burned a bunch with all the fire effects.
Oh,
In
wow.
Munchkin Land, yeah. In that scene, I believe, I think they kept the actual part, the flame, I believe, went off before she was on the platform that she was supposed to be on to not be hurt by it, and she ended up getting second and third degree burns on her hands and face.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Louise. Far out.
And then apparently it was later discovered that one of the key components in her makeup was copper,
Yep.
which made that
Oh.
even worse.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is in the they ended up keeping the first take of it, which was before she got burnt, which is when the red smoke apparently went a little bit too early as well. But they ended up keeping that rather than the second take where her cape got caught in the platform and the fire appeared. So everyone got hurt on set, basically.
Yeah, seems like it. It's just, it makes you, like, I'm not... Visual effects, say what you will of them, all the CGI and stuff, but if it stops people from going through this, it's probably kind of good, actually.
Yeah. No, it's probably good. I'd rather take some, CGI than actual burning of people.
Yeah.
Let's CGI burn people, not real life burn people.
It's just, like, it's so rough. It's like... There were no safety precautions in movies at the time.
Not at all.
And when you're making a movie like this that's so far removed from the real world and you need effects, yeah, it goes to show how important having those safety precautions are. Like, for example, Zach, the snow, you know the scene where it starts snowing?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just regular snow and nothing, poisonous or anything to people's lungs. I sure hope not anyway.
Yeah, it was definitely something. It was asbestos. They were raining asbestos, something like this.
Yeah, I did that one. Oh, God.
I don't think they knew that was dangerous at the time, though.
No one did. That's the problem with asbestos. For a long time, it was heavily used.
Yeah.
By lots of things, like construction work, other things, and no one knew or cared to look into. There's a whole thing where, like, people who worked with it got sick, and they didn't look into it. And then people looked into it and went, oh no, this stuff is really bad, actually.
It doesn't just stop at the poppy field, though. Apparently, because they tried to flame-proof some materials, the Wicked Witch of the West burning broom was made of asbestos, and I also believe that when the Scarecrow is like stuffing his shirt with more like straw, asbestos as well.
Wow.
Oh no.
In there to help keep it like flame proof. Just gets worse and worse the more you dig in, honestly.
So much stuff.
Yeah, it's bad. It's terrible, and it's a real shame because it's a great movie in the end, but do the ends justify the means,
Yeah.
Probably not. They probably could have made this film without having the cast suffer so much.
Yep. And it wasn't just the human cast members. Poor Toto also got harmed and needed to go to the vet.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck did they do to the dog? I didn't know that.
I think he was stepped on.
What?
I think Toto was stepped on a bunch.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How did they fuck that up? Oh my god.
It says here that some of the witch's guards accidentally stepped on Terry, the actor who played the dog, and had to go to the vet and get maybe surgery, I'm not sure. And also, I was talking earlier about how the Munchkin actors didn't behave very well on set, but remember, it is also the 30s, and the dog got paid more than the Munchkins.
Oh my god. Jeez Louise.
Thankfully, though, I was watching the scene with, like, the horse that changes colors and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, they definitely killed a bunch of horses for this, right? No, the horses were just covered in Jell-O. So that's not too bad, actually. That's fine.
The horse lived.
Apparently, they had to film those scenes really quick because the horses kept trying to like lick the Jell-O like off them.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they had to just keep trying to film it as fast as possible.
That's very funny.
Oh, okay. So apparently the Jitterbug scene was cut because Jitterbug is associated with alcohol. And they were like, we probably shouldn't have a song in here about getting drunk. Okay.
That makes sense.
That's why it was cut. Interesting.
There you go. Wow, what a mess of a production.
It's honestly surprising that the movie's watchable.
Yeah. Not only watchable, but really good. So it's.
It's crazy too that you wouldn't pick up on most of this without researching actually what did happen. Most of it you wouldn't even think anything was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rate the production of this film an oldie. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
This is terrible. This is yikes.
Yeah.
I am very glad we live nowadays where there are laws and rules and shit to stop this kind of crap happening. Because, yeah, this is awful.
Ever wish you could go back in time to the Saturday mornings of your childhood, eating cereal and watching your favorite cartoons? Well, we don't provide the cereal, but we do have a cartoon time machine to take you to animated shows of the past, present, and future. And even just some stuff that doesn't exist, but wouldn't it be cool if it did?
We're your animates, Katie and Scarlett, and we'd like to invite you to join us on our podcast, Cartoon Time Machine, releasing new episodes of Cartoon Fun Times every Sunday morning.
We're two film majors who love to talk cartoons and get way too into them. So if you want to hear two adults getting way too invested in the world of Steven Universe,
or answering the age-old question of whether Sugar Mama would beat General Maya in a fight,
we're just trying to figure out what Tom Kenny voiced in every show, tune in to Cartoon Time Machine, part of That's Not Canon Productions. See you there.
All right, but let's get into some other versions of The Wizard of Oz. As I mentioned, this isn't...
On that cheery note.
On that cheery note, there's a bunch of other adaptations, some silent films and stuff. Return to Oz is the big one. That's from the 80s. It's the Walt Disney one that bombed. Oz the Great and Powerful, we mentioned it earlier. But there's also a bunch of TV shows. There's some TV shows. Like, for example, did anyone watch Emerald City from 2017?
Oh, yeah, love that.
The Wizard of Oz TV show?
No?
I watched it all the time. I've watched it like 5-7 times, I think, now.
Really?
No. No, of course not.
Good, because it was terrible. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I watched an episode. I think I even made Rob on Nerd Out watch it.
Oh,
and we were like,
no.
this is awful. What is this? It's something like, I'm Dorothy and I'm a cop, but I gotta go back to Emerald City to kill a wizard or something. I'm like, what the
Oh,
hell's
that
going
sounds
on?
awesome. That sounds sick as hell. You've sold me. I know Wicked the musical, we talked about it a little bit, but I think I've seen like a recorded production of that on like TV or something. And that's where I got the idea of, I think in that one, the good witch is, not as good as thing. There's the whole thing with that. No spoilers, obviously. But like, it's the whole relationship between the witches is sort of expanded on, which is pretty cool.
Yes. And we are getting a movie version of that late next year.
Are we?
Awesome.
I'm fascinated to see how Ariana Grande plays the Good Witch. That's going to be very funny. But I really like how Jeff Goldblum is going to be the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's
great.
awesome. Yeah. Especially because I know, like, vaguely, I watched this when I was a child, but I know vaguely that sort of the Wizard of Oz is not a good person in this one, which is great. I'm excited.
It'll be good fun. But something that we're doing this year on the podcast, Val, is we are recasting and remaking the movies that we cover. So how about we go for a remake of The Wizard of Oz? And I think, honestly, this one could be needed. And because I was watching this with my partner, we actually wrote out all of the parts that we'd recast, so I've already got a lot of options here, but I do want to know what you two think as well. Let's remake The Wizard of Oz. Zach, what's an angle? Do you want a direct remake? What sort of angle would you like for this version of Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, this is definitely interesting because we got a lot of avenues we could go here. Obviously, Wicked's done the prequel sort of thing, so I don't want to go that direction. That's already been done. We need to do something. We could do afterwards. We could just remake the story in a more, like, last week we did a cyberpunk version.
Cyberpunk Robin Hood, yep.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. So maybe something along those lines. Maybe we remake it. I don't want to say remake it, but do it in modern times.
Yep.
Because I'm sure that's been done.
Oh, and it's all in 2D until she goes to Oz, and then it's in 3D.
Oh no, I hate everything. But yeah, I'm not sure. Val, what do you think? What would be a good idea for making a film, a Wizard of Oz film?
So I don't know what kind of take on it, but I feel like for some reason I can imagine Ryan Reynolds playing either the Tin Man or the Scarecrow and having this weirdly funny twist on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know why. I can just see it though.
Absolutely, we could do this as like a comedy sort of thing. sort of making fun of the weird intricacies of the film. I'd like that.
What about, hear me out, that the characters end up time traveling back?
Whoa!
See what I'm doing there? See what I'm doing there?
Oh, shit.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't like time travel, actually. Not a big fan of that as a plot device.
No, I think that's a great plot device. Absolutely. Oh, do you know what? This has got my neurons flying now. The land of the Wizard of Oz is either the distant future or the ancient past. It's one of those two.
Oh, so it's not an alternate dimension. It's just our Earth.
Yeah, it's not
but-
like an alternate
Yeah.
dimension. It's like she's actually time traveling.
Yeah.
But we never explain if it's the distant future or the ancient past. And it's sort of hinted that it's the future. Like, they say it's the future, but it actually looks like it might be the past, and there's like a post-apocalyptic undertone. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So we've got this, like, the future city, run by the Wizard of Oz. Oh, but
Yeah.
the Wizard of Oz, he's just a computer.
Oh my god, he's a computer man!
Yeah.
So some of the casting that I had, I love the idea of Ryan Reynolds. What we came up with was for the Scarecrow, Martin Short, and for the Tin Man, Steve Martin.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that.
But they're probably too old. They're probably too old to pull it off. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they'd be funny, but they're probably too old.
Oh, Martin Short would be really great, though. I could see him as a scarecrow. That'd be pretty fun.
And we also had Mike Myers as the lion, which is very silly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? The Tin Man also should be a robot.
Ooh.
So you got the Wizard of Oz as like a computer, but the Tin Man's a robot for sure.
Well, there was a version of Tin Man in 2007. It was like a mini series with Zoe Deschanel and Alan Cumming, where it's like the creation of the Tin Man or something in Oz. It's like this
right.
weird like sci-fi TV show.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Absolutely, we should incorporate lore from that one.
Thing that no one remembers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But for Dorothy, I wrote down Haley Steinfeld. I think she can sing. She can definitely act. She's great in like Bumblebee and stuff. But I don't know. There's definitely some other options out there. She's maybe too old. Anyone comes to mind for you, Val, who could play a good Dorothy?
Honestly, I'm kind of stumped. I really don't know.
This is a very specific role.
Yeah.
Chloe Moretz?
Can she sing though?
I don't know, actually. I have no idea, actually. That's a good point. We could always fix that in post, right? We could always, dub over the singing,
Just
right?
dub over. We could cast Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
That could be kind of funny.
Yeah?
Oh, Billie Eilish is kind of cool. Yeah, absolutely. A bit more of a modern thing.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be too unusual for, like, a music artist to decide to do an acting role. Oh, that'd be cool.
You know what? I actually, I don't mind that. I mean, her singing, her style of singing is very different to what I think we'd want.
Yeah, but we could also have we could have both, like, some musical songs and some more, like, modern song sort of things.
Okay.
Mixed in between. That could be fun.
Billie Eilish is Dorothy. Why not? Why not? You say Ryan Reynolds for Tin Man or Scarecrow, Val, but what if Ryan Reynolds was the Wizard?
Ooh.
Yes. I'm sold.
That did not take much convincing.
The Wizard is usually played by like an older guy, but
Yeah.
Ooh.
But also, he's like a computer, right? He's a computer simulation.
Yes.
Like, that's the whole reveal, right? So it's just revealed. They pull back the curtain and it's just like a monitor. Ignore the computer behind the curtain.
He would suit that role actually very well.
Oh, absolutely.
And putting on all the different costumes and stuff would be very fun.
Yeah.
Silly disguises.
For Toto, James Corden, obviously, is going to be playing Toto. That's the obvious pick there. Or Jared Leto in like his dog outfit from the Met Gala. Could be
I
fun.
hate everything.
The Tin Man and Scarecrow. Do we like Martin Short and Steve Martin, or do other people come to mind, Val?
I think I have to agree with you there on those two, because there is no one else I can possibly think of that would suit it, I think.
But for the Lion, what do you think for the Lion, Zach?
I know of an actor that's done musicals and is slightly older now. and is from Australia.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Who do you think I'm talking about?
You're thinking about Guy Sebastian or Shannon Knoll, aren't you?
No, absolutely not. I want Hugh Jackman to play the lion.
Oh, and then we got Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in a movie together
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
It's perfect now.
Yeah.
We have to tell them immediately that this needs to happen.
Someone needs to inform them. Yeah.
I would agree with that. Seeing them two, and especially thinking of like the scenes where the wizard and the lion would be interacting with each other, I think would be incredible. So I couldn't think of anyone better to.
Yeah, that almost makes me want to have Ryan Reynolds as the Scarecrow. Again, though.
True.
But I think this cast is good. I think this works out. Because I'd like to see Hugh Jackman, acting all tough as he does,
Yeah.
as at the start, but then he gets all scared, and we get to see Hugh Jackman play a scaredy lion. And of course, he can sing and dance, and he's quite good at it.
For the Witch of the North,
Ooh,
Amy Poehler came to mind first. The Good Witch.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a tough role to cast, but as soon as she was on screen, I was like, Amy Poehler, 100%. I don't know why. I think it's the blonde hair, and like they look pretty similar.
They look very similar, so I think it works out quite well.
And for the Wicked Witch, we could definitely go with someone else, but the first person who came to mind is Molly Shannon, just because she is funny.
I've only got one in mind, and solely for her portrayal of like pure evil in 101 Dalmatians. I could imagine Glenn Close doing the Wicked Witch of the West.
That could work. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, that'd be fun. I like that as well.
She done Cruella so well that I reckon she would be able to pull off the Wicked Witch of the West.
For director, I didn't actually think of this until we just started talking about how we would remake it. She's doing Barbie. I think she can do Wizard of Oz too. We gotta get Greta Gerwig. Same director as Barbie, which is like a weird CGI world. That's cool. That's what Emerald City's gonna be. So,
Yeah, absolutely. It's all plastic in the end.
it's all plastic. I think Greta Gerwig directing this after Barbie, it's the only, it's the natural trajectory, You do Barbie, you then do Wizard of Oz.
Absolutely.
And it would also annoy all the film bros, and I'm always down for that.
And make it a sci-fi dystopian land.
Yeah.
Where things are sort of parodied. That's great.
But at the end, is it revealed that it was all a dream, or are we doing something a bit different?
Well, no, the thing is, like, the time travel was real, but was it to the past or the future?
Oh, and then she walks out, and then she sees that the Statue of Liberty is in the desert, and she's like, "You did it, you damn dirty wizards!"
Boo! Get him off the script.
All right, well, that's the episode right there. Thank you so much for joining us for this one, Val.
No, thank you for having me.
If people want to check out your streams, you are on Twitch all the time, doing all of the things. What sort of stuff have you been playing recently? Where can people check you out?
Twitch.tv/Valaris, doing all the horror stuff recently. Vampires, zombies, the usual.
You playing Redfall?
Yeah, done Redfall, Dead Island 2, all the things and stuff.
Awesome.
Amazing. There's links in the episode description. You're on all the socials as well if people want to check you out. And plus, you do, speaking of the makeup and stuff of The Wizard of Oz, you also are very good at doing like makeup and stuff. People can check out your cosplays. Plus, coming up in 5 months is Halloween times?
Yeah, that's right. And then it'll be all the cosplays again.
Will there be a Wizard of Oz 1 theme this year? Maybe. I don't even. That's not even horror. So
never say never.
True. And there's links to all that in the episode description, plus links to all our stuff. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on all the stuff and things. YouTube, if you want to leave us a funny comment, I read them and I always screen share them and send them to Zach, because we laugh at any comment that we get, even if it's nice. We're like, ha ha ha, you fool.
You fool! This has only improved our algorithm. You silly Billy.
We also greatly appreciate everyone who leaves us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if that is where you have a listen to the show. Chucking us a rating is always amazing. We are also on patreon.com/oldie-but-a-goodie-pod, where you can get ad-free episodes. And Zach, coming out on Wednesday, it's our review of Steven Spielberg's Artificial Intelligence. Speaking of a man with no heart, it's a kid who's a robot.
Whoa! And it's much like this movie in which some batshit crazy stuff happens.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's a wild movie. I honestly can't believe it wasn't spoiled for me before we watched it.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
That is up on Patreon on Wednesday. Link in the episode description. Now, before we try and find a way to send Val to the future, and before we completely wrap up the episode, Zach, you've got to pick next week's movie, and we're going into a brand new decade. We're going into the 40s.
Ooh, the 40s.
That's right. 1940 is next week's year, and you got a bunch of options to pick from. The first one that jumps out to me, Zach, it's Pinocchio. We love Pinocchio, and I don't think we've done Pinocchio
we're not doing Pinocchio. No, not another Pinocchio movie. Not after 4 Pinocchio movies. No, don't make me.
I think we've done 5 on the podcast. We did the animated one from the 80s. We did the 3 on Patreon last year, and then we just did AI, which is also a Pinocchio movie.
Far out. We've done too many Pinocchio. No, I put my foot down. I'm not watching that. I've seen it before. People have seen it. No, no. We could do the Mark of Zorro.
I love Zorro. Zorro's great. He's got a sword, and he's like, I'm gonna stab you.
Wow, your recollection of that film is spot on. That sounds exactly like it.
I love that. What about Fantasia though, Zach? Fantasia, that's a classic. Fantasia's a classic, and I've actually never seen it because I always kept borrowing Fantasia 2000 from the library because they didn't have actual Fantasia, and I thought it was Fantasia, and then I requested it online because it said Fantasia, but I just got Fantasia 2000, and I've never seen Fantasia, Zach.
Well, that's sad. Anyway, Dr. Cyclops. There's some scientist that goes into the jungle and he makes a Cyclops, apparently.
Great.
Yep. But Sandra.
Yes!
We're in the 40s. So we need to pick something that's iconically the 40s.
Right.
Around that time, things were happening.
You're talking about the war?
Yeah, the war. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Most Wikipedia pages I opened up for people to look at, they had a big section afterwards, which I've ignored so far, which was about what they did during the war. But I want to pick something that's slightly adjacent to the war. The Great Dictator.
Oh, you're going for the Charlie Chaplin anti-war comedy. Okay.
Yeah. Because, we've done Charlie Chaplin before.
Yeah.
We've done Charlie Chaplin. But I think The Great Dictator, is that one of his most famous?
That is, that's the one with the big speech that he does.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, my mustache is kind of similar to a political guy. Let's make fun of him.
Yeah. I would love to see that one, and that way we can talk about the fact that there was a war here, but also make fun of bad people.
Amazing. Next week, The Great Dictator. Then that's gonna be fun. Let's get on out of here then. How do we send Val to the future?
It should be obvious now, but Val had the power to go back home this whole time.
Oh,
The whole time?
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, it's super easy and plot convenient. You just tap your heels together and say, "There's no place like the time in which I was teleported here from."
There's no place like the time of which I was... Hang on, what was the rest of it?
Oh, and she's gone!
Oh
She's
my goodness! There's a giant pink bubble. It's taken her into the future.
Wow! See you later, Val.
Bye.
Bye.
Is that orphan gone forever? I guess we'll probably have to deal with that next week. It's fine. It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's a cliffhanger. All right, I'm gonna leave the body.
Oh my, gross.
Well, that was absolutely barbaric. I'm going to go build a theme park.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go into 1940 then, a brand new decade. What adventures are gonna await for me in the new 10 years, the next 10 episodes? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna cover some more monster movies? Are we gonna cover some more adventure movies? Are we maybe even gonna do a romantic comedy and Zach gets annoyed? Who knows? We'll figure it all out in the next 10 weeks, right here, same place on Oldie But a Good. What is this outro?
Wrap it up!
Bye!